Yo, what's up everybody, it's Beth aka Spooky Baron back again with another video. This week we are doing some ghost stories and I hope you stay tuned as these are some very scary stories that you do not want to miss. And let's get right into it and get spooked out. And go grab that popcorn while you're at it. Possible Mimic by Flick Election 8137 from Reddit. First post here, though I'm a long time reader. I want to start by saying everything in this story is true. I have had many paranormal experiences in my life, but this one has always stuck out to me the most. A little backstory. I grew up in a very rural area, and my stepfather was a coal miner, and payday was a day that literally everyone in town would go shopping and eat out, as almost every husband and father was also a miner. So I was waiting on my stepdad to get home. It was just me and my mother in the house. I am getting dressed and putting my makeup on, and my parents' room that was at the end of the house. I heard my mother yelling at me, and she just yelled my name, and I do not have a common name at all. So it was not from TV, and it was literally my mum's voice. She yelled at me again, and I'm nervous thinking I'm in trouble. I called out to hear nothing back. I walked through the house and she was nowhere to be found. I'm alone. I walked outside as we lived on a few acres, and my mother was outside at our picnic area with her dogs. I asked if she yelled at me, and she said,
"No, I been outside quiet a while."
I asked again, and she said,
"No."
I knew she wasn't lying to me. She knows stuff like that scares me. I would never do it intentionally. That horrible, eerie feeling stayed with me all evening, but nothing else happened. Has anyone else had this happen? And what could that have been? The clocks. Horrible, eerie feeling stayed with me all evening, but nothing else happened. Has anyone else had this happen? And what could that have been? The clocks encountered by technical entry 6633. This happened when I was 21, male. Was in elementary or middle school at the time. Usually nothing happened. They used to have this guest room where I used to sleep when I stayed there. It was a pretty regular room, a double bed right in the middle, and a big wardrobe in the right wall, and a little table in the corner with a TV on it. But this room also has something special. Right in front of the bed there was two long shelves, one above the other, and they were fully occupied by clocks. To give you a number, I think there were 20 or so clocks on those shelves. There were many kinds of clocks. New ones, cheap ones, alarm clocks, and so on. So, this specific day goes on, and nothing weird happened. But at night, I had an experience that I never forget, and won't let me sleep with clocks nearby ever again. At night, when every other sound goes quiet, all you can hear in that room was ticking sounds of clocks. So this night, something woke me up. It was late at first, and I thought I was imagining things. The ticking sound of the clocks changed. They no longer made the tick-tack sound. Instead, they would make the tick sound, but then the tack was replaced by the voice of a man. It was a deep voice saying,
Talk.
It wasn't like someone trying to imitate the sound of a clock, but someone literally saying, tack. So the clock would tick, then the voice would say tack. As I said at first, I thought it was my imagination. So I waited a moment, sat down, and heard the man's voice.
Talk.
For some time, when it didn't stop, I tried laying down again and cover my head with a pillow so I wouldn't hear it and I could go back to sleep. But it didn't work. I just heard it a little less. Time passes and it started to frighten me. I started to panic, so I decided to exit the room and run to my grandma's bedroom. I started walking to the door, but as I got closer, the sound got louder and quicker.
Tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tock.
The voice was now yelling. Every time, faster and faster. I ran as I got out of the room. It all stopped. But I didn't stop until I was in my grandma's bed, where I told her what happened. We prayed. I slept with her the rest of the night. Since this, I kept sleeping at my grandma's, but every time we would take the clocks out of the room at night. Since then, nothing similar has happened to me. I've had some other paranormal experience, even some of them related to clocks, but nothing as frightening as this experience. If someone knows what it could have been, I would love to hear their theories. Creature by Nothingness from Reddit. So for starters, I was trying to fall asleep in my room, but couldn't, because I felt watched. So I do what I always do, and turn my phone flashlight, and there, by my closet, was a creature. Long fingernails, elongated arms and legs, skin kind of porcelain eyes, reflected, and it was so bony, like its skin had almost no muscle, just laying over the bones. This creature was crouched, just staring at me, not moving, not blinking, and it don't seem to breathe. Just stared, so I thought I had been imagining it. So I turned my flashlight off and then turned it back on, and guess who was there? Staring. So I turned over and fell asleep. The next night, the thing was in the same place, just outside my closet, but also by a doll cabinet in my room, doing the same thing as last time. So I went to sleep again. After that, I had enough of this entity watching me sleep. So I went to my sister's room and I explained to her in more detail what had happened. But out of nowhere, the room goes from feeling really safe to feeling of a seething of rage from outside the door to my sister's room, and we both went quiet. I had wondered if she could also feel the heavy present. We both decided to go to bed. Not long after, in the afternoon, my sister, little pouch, tore it off, but I had insist I didn't need it. Then, that night, I could feel its presence, so I snatched that little pouch, and it's been gone ever since. This happened on the 3rd of the 21st, 2022. through the 3rd of 2022 at around 12:30. Have you got any ghost stories that you want to tell us, which we'll share on YouTube? Then make sure to send it to our email or send it on our socials. We'll get right to you. This still bothers me today. DWowX96 from Reddit. Note, I don't really believe in ghosts. I'm very much a skeptic. But this event I experienced really stumbled me to this day. The year was 2011 and I was 15 years old. I was laying in bed when suddenly I heard a faint scream of a man within my room, and the scream was circling around me. I actually thought I was going crazy, but I knew I felt mentally stable at the time and thinking straight. So I pulled my phone. At the time, I started recording the audio of this supposed scream. When I hit play back after they stopped, only a minute or so, I heard it clear as day on my phone. I don't know how I was able to sleep that night, but eventually I did. The next morning, I instantly checked my phone again in the audio recording, and it was still there, reconfirming myself that it was a dream or some mental episode along those lines. When I got to school, I told my friends about the whole thing, and of course they didn't believe me, and I even said I had the proof because I recorded it. And I ship you not. I pulled my phone out of my pocket, and the phone was completely shattered, with the SD card inside of it, and was completely corrupted. I wasn't being rough or fell or anything like that. Of course, I looked like an idiot after, and got laughed at, and everything. I'm truly a skeptic, but goddamn, that truly pie me off, even until this very day, because that audio was completely real. This happened in 2016. It was early morning. I was up and getting ready for work, and I alone in the house. My dog's ears perked up, and I began to listen with him. We both heard someone moaning in pain from an uncertain point of source in the room. Again, it was faint and very disembodied sounding. I pulled my phone out again, this time with my iPhone video, not a flip phone. The noise stopped. I played it back and it was there. Later that day, the video vanished, and I couldn't recover it either. I also want to add that someone did apparently die in my room 25 years ago before we moved in. I had other spooky stuff happened, but they can easily be marked off as explainable and not interesting. A Story I Remember from My Childhood by NormanRB from Reddit. I remember hearing this story like it was early today, but in fact it was years ago when I was a preteen kid. An older kid called Calvin who rode the bus to school with us, who had drowned while fishing near a dam as the current dragged him underwater. His body was found later. Anyway, the story was that shortly before he drowned, his mother experienced something a few nights before. She said she saw an image of a person at the foot of his bed one night as he slept. As she went to speak, the image turned towards her and shh at her. She later told her husband, who dismissed it as nothing more than seeing a thing. After Calvin died, she again told her husband the story. At that moment she realised who the image was. It was her brother, Calvin's uncle, who had drowned a few years before. He often took Calvin fishing when he was a young kid. Okay guys, we are done for today. Thank you for watching. If you do like today's video, don't forget to subscribe and like the channel. And if you've got any ghost stories for us to share, and make sure to email us or message me on my social medias. And I'll see you guys in the next video. And I hope you got spooked out.